Tip number one is work with what you have. I end up saying this a lot in our mindful movement classes. And what that means is work with what you have today without discomfort and know that it's not going to always be this way, and you can work up to being able to do more without risk and discomfort in the tabletop position or downward dogs or high planks. So what that may look like is maybe one round of tabletop is totally okay on your wrist, but after one, it starts to cause you some discomfort. So what you can do is work on that one round and notice over time you'll be able to do more and more. And in the meantime, just follow the modifications that we'll share next. Tip number two is doing it off your elbows on an elevated surface. So this could also be yoga blocks, but just be careful if you use yoga blocks, it is easier to flip them over. So make sure you're doing it on the lowest setting of the yoga block, not on its highest setting where it's more unstable. But the best option would be something more stable with a wider base. And what that looks like, if you were to do tabletop, put your elbows right underneath your shoulders, reach through your arms, and it would be just like you would be on your wrist. And you can also do downward dog off your elbows, but again, making sure you have a stable surface that is not going to flip over by putting weight on there. And it would look the same. You're just pushing off your elbows versus your hands, and that's a modification you can use if you're having wrist issues. Tip number three is going on your elbows without any elevation. So this will take weight off of your wrist, but it will make it harder for your upper body to hold these positions. So it would feel more like a progression, but it will take weight off of your wrist. So if you're strong enough, this would be a good variation. So the tabletop would look just like this, where you're pushing through your arms, keeping the weight forward and a slight tuck through your hips instead of being on your wrist. And then you could possibly do downward dog in this position, but you won't be able to go as far because you require more motion through your shoulders. So it would look like this. That is tip number three if you're having issues with your wrist. Tip number four, getting your upper body a little stronger to hold yourself in that position. So what that means is getting the muscles around your upper body a little stronger to be able to hold yourself in this position and in downward dog. So what that will look like is something like a dumbbell or kettlebell arm bar, and that's laying on your back, because you'll see in this position I'm basically in an upside down tabletop. So you'll breathe in through your nose, full breath out as you reach up towards the ceiling, and what you're doing here is you're getting the muscles around your arms strong enough to be able to hold yourself in that position. Because maybe that's what you need, is you need to be able to distribute the weight throughout your whole entire body and not just put a lot of the load on your wrist. So in through the nose, full breath out as you reach up towards the ceiling, and keep your arm there, and you would do this about 5 breaths.